Welcome to the G.L.O.E podcast. G.L.O.E stands for God, Life, Outreach, and Encouragement. I'm your host, Angel. This isn't a podcast where we pretend to have it all together. It's a place where faith meets real life. We'll talk about the victories, the struggles, the healing, the hard questions, and the lesson God teaches us through every season. Through honest conversations and inspiring stories, my prayer is that every episode helps you grow in your relationship with God, find hope in the middle of life's challenges, and be encouraged to walk confidently in the purpose He has for you. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back. And if this is your first time joining, welcome to the G.L.O.E family. I'm so glad you're here. Therefore, encourage one another and build up each other, as indeed you are doing. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Again, I'm so glad to be back. I know I keep saying that, but I am happy to be back. But I will say that my time away was well spent. So at first, I felt like I was not accomplishing anything, and as usual, I was just doing too much. And finally, once I slowed down and I started to get myself together, I realized that part of my problem was I wasn't using my planner. And it was really throwing me off. I even had a digital planner. I had a digital planner at the beginning of the year, and I ended up returning it because I just wasn't happy with it. Even my kids loved it. And I was actually kind of disappointed in it because once I got it all set up with the color coding and everything, I was really excited to use it. And I really thought that it was going to be good for me and my family, but it didn't work out. And I think after that, I just stopped with my planning and it really messed me up. I am working on getting back on track with planning and all the things that I need to do. I also turned 40 at the beginning of the year. Whoop whoop, chapter 40 for me. Some people get worried about getting older or get scared or like, oh, I can't believe that I'm this old, and that's just not me. I look forward to getting older because the only other option is death, and I don't think I'm ready for that yet. So I look forward to getting older. I celebrate my birthday. I absolutely love it. I usually don't go to work on my birthday, but this year I did, and my coworkers decorated my office for me and had a little sash for me. It was really cool. But last year in February, I decided that I wanted to do a 40 before 40 bucket list, and I kind of started it a little late. So I didn't even have 40 things on it. And I also didn't get to complete half of them. What I decided to do was that I was just going to carry it over to this year and try to complete them before I turned 41. And one of the things that I had on my list that I just honestly did not think was going to happen was horse riding lessons. I rode when I was a little girl, loved it, and then I had to stop riding. And so last year I connected with the person who does riding lessons, and I started back in November. I go once a month. I wish that I could go more than once a month, but right now that's all my wallet and my schedule will allow me to be able to do. And now I'm trying to talk my husband into letting me get a horse. He said no, but I'm really working on it because I want a horse. But horse riding is something that I wanted to do for myself, something that I always loved and that I always wanted to get back into it. And I finally got the chance. And honestly, I was a little nervous to get back into it because it's been like literal decades since I rode a horse. But muscle memory is a real thing because once I saddled up the horse and I got on him, it was like I never stopped. My instructor keeps saying that she swore that I rode English saddle, and that is an insult to me because I have always rode Western, but story for a different time. We also, my husband and I went to Egypt with a group of friends in April, and it was amazing. I got to see King Tut's tomb with his actual mummy inside of it. And it was really cool because obviously King Tut's like one of the popular, kings that everyone talks about. And whenever we talked about the Egyptians and the kings, he was always one of my favorites. So it was really cool and weird at the same time to like go into his actual tomb and like see his mummy. And also his tomb is so tiny, but we went to the Great Egyptian Museum and we saw all of the things that came out of his room, and it was crazy to compare the two, to see everything that had came out of his tomb and then to actually see his tomb. It's like, how did they even get a fourth of this stuff in here? But it was interesting. I was very respectful because I didn't need, any kings, pharaohs, any Egyptian things like following me back. But it was really nice. And we also got to sail down the Nile River. I rode on a camel. I climbed inside of a pyramid and I walked probably about 1,000,000 miles. But overall, it was a good trip. And I'm really glad that I got to get that experience and that I got to experience with my husband. And I feel like I maybe have finally gotten some type of balance between my full time job and my part time job, family time, and all the other things that life throws at you. And that's why I felt comfortable starting the podcast back up again, because sometimes you just need to regroup and let seasons run their course. One of the most important things that I feel like I learned while I was on this break and that I did while I was on this break was to fall back in love with things that I used to love. We get so busy as adults that we often put the things that we love on the back burner because we just don't have time for them. One of the things that I've always loved doing is reading, and on my 40 before 40 list was to read 40 books. I think I maybe made it to about 10. So I bumped it up to 41 for this year. And I think at the time that I'm recording this, I think I'm at about 18. And so I started back reading. I started back crafting every now and then. And I just need to make some time to get back into sewing. But getting back into reading could potentially be dangerous for me because when I start reading, I tend to neglect everything once I get into a book. Like, I don't have time for adult responsibilities. I am currently a fly on the wall in whatever book that I'm reading, trying to figure out who did it, why they did it, how they did it, all of those things. So, yeah, reading is dangerous for you. It's important to make time for the things that you love, your hobbies. And sometimes we need a reminder to leave them as hobbies. I started to fall out of love with crafting because I tried to turn it into a business. And when it wasn't doing well, that made me feel as if I wasn't doing good. And that may or may not have been true, but it made me realize that sometimes a hobby is just a hobby and it should stay that way. So today, I want to encourage you to take some time and think about something that you once really enjoyed doing and feel like you no longer have time to do it. And I want you to find the time to do it. As I said, I've started reading. So I make time for it. I read on my lunch break. I squeeze in some reading at nighttime before I go to bed. I prefer a physical book, but my cousin and I, she loves to read as well. We have decided to start reading books together, and I realized how expensive that could get. So I downloaded the Libby app, and I also re-downloaded my Kindle. So that way, if I'm at a restaurant and I'm waiting to be seated, or if I'm out somewhere and I get bored, instead of doom scrolling, I can read. It's important to have something that is for you, that makes you happy, and that you look forward to doing. The next thing that I'm going to work on is finding hobbies that aren't so expensive. If anyone has any ideas or suggestions, please let me know. Until next time, continue to glow boldly and live purposefully. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of G.L.O.E. If today's episode spoke to you, please leave a review and share it with a friend, family member, or anyone who could use a little encouragement. Every share helps this message reach someone who needs it.